in today's video, I'm going to be answering your guys' sorority related questions. I asked you guys on my Instagram to send me any sorority related questions that you guys had. I've done another sorority Q&A last year that I'll link down below if you guys want to check that one out. It just answers a lot of questions that a lot of potential new members are wondering about, and I don't know, I just love creating content that I would have loved seeing when I was going through recruitment or even going into college in general. So that's always like my main priority in my content, is thinking about what would I have liked to have seen as I was going to enter this whole new transition in my life. So that's why I decided to film today's video. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, so the first question is, what was your favorite and least favorite part of recruitment / rush week? Definitely, I think my least favorite part is how exhausting it is. Typically, it does run a full week, but because of the new virtual recruitment that is going on, it is going to be broken up a lot differently with like 2 days every week. So I think that will help a lot, but typically it is a full week and you're waking up super early and having long days talking to so many people. So it can be pretty exhausting, to say the least. So that was definitely probably my least favorite part. And then my favorite part was definitely getting to meet a lot of people. I went to the University of Arizona where I knew no one going through recruitment. I was one of 2 people going to U of A at my school. And so getting thrown into that like right before school started was a really cool experience, because I got to meet people right off the bat and I like immediately had friends. Even if we didn't join the same chapter, we still talked throughout the week and we still got to hang out throughout the week and become friends afterwards. So it's just such a cool experience getting to like meet people from all over the country. So it's really cool. So that was like probably like my favorite part. All right, the next question is, how can we help ourselves stand out through virtual recruitment? So if you guys didn't see, I just posted a virtual recruitment tips and advice video to check out. I'll link that one down below as well. I think it will have a lot of great tips and advice for you guys to stand out and have a successful virtual recruitment. Okay, next is, how did you know what house was right for you? So for me, while I was going through recruitment, how I found the right house for me was basically just the one that I felt the most comfortable in, because you go through different chapters, you're meeting so many different people, you're having so many conversations, and when I got to actually visualize myself being at my chapter that I'm in now, like it just felt right for me. Like it's literally such a weird feeling, because it's like you're just joining a sorority, like why is it such a big deal? But while you're going through the process, like you're really just gonna connect and feel which chapter is best for you, which one you feel the most comfortable in. The one you could actually visualize seeing yourself at is really where you're gonna feel like is going to be the place for you. And with virtual, you just want to really see what type of people you connect with the most with your conversations and everything like that, because you don't want anything to feel forced, especially during this process. You want to truly be your authentic self, and then that way you can end up being in the chapter that's right for you. So yeah, that's how I pretty much figured out which house was right for me. How time consuming is it to be in a sorority with mandatory events, etc.? I would say every year how time consuming is lessens. So as your freshman year, it's definitely going to be the busiest, but for me that was actually something that I needed and loved about it, was because I wasn't homesick when I was busy and doing all these really fun events, which all these events were really like about meeting people, getting connected with the girls in your chapter, and just really getting to experience what your campus has to offer and everything. So freshman year definitely was a lot more, and mostly in the beginning of the year, which I personally didn't mind because again, I didn't know anyone. So it was a great way for me to get out of my dorm and mingle with people and get to know people that way. And I feel like as years go on with your seniority, things just aren't as mandatory for you, which is fine again, because the whole point is you to find your group of friends and everything. So as you get older, by the time you're a senior, you already end up having your group of friends, so you don't really find it necessary to go to certain events that aren't mandatory. So yeah, that's kind of like how it is, but definitely in the beginning of the year I feel like it's the most time consuming. Next is, how do you think being in a sorority changed your college experience? Definitely joining an organization was probably the best thing I could have done for having a good college experience. And this is because I don't know how I would have met people and actually socialized if I was in a chapter. I am such an introvert, like I'm not an outgoing person at all, and if I didn't have an organization to kind of push me out of my comfort zone, meet a lot of new people, have all these events, I personally think I would have not had that great of a college experience, just because that's how my personality is. So yeah, I think it totally elevated my college experience in the best way possible. So yeah, if you're someone like me, I would definitely just go for it and try it out and see how it is and see if it's a good fit for you. All right, next is, was it hard choosing a sorority? For me, it definitely was hard midweek because I was completely split between two different chapters. I was gonna go either way within the midweek. They were my personal two top chapters and I loved both of them equally and could picture myself in both of them equally. And then when it got down to the final day, which is preference, I ended up talking to someone in one chapter that it was just an awful experience, to be honest. Like, I felt so uncomfortable there. Whereas the chapter I was in, I literally cried. I saw myself there. I got close to the girls who were in my group and it just seemed like a good fit. So when it came down to like my final choice, the chapter I'm in now, which is Alpha Phi, it ended up being such an easy decision because of that experience that I had. So honestly, I always say, like, I have no idea if I had two equally great experiences in either house. I have no idea what I would have done. Like, honestly, it was at that point, at the final day, it literally made it so easy for me to choose my chapter. But up until then, like, I was completely split. So totally depends on your experience and what chapters you're interested in and which ones you feel like you have the best fit in. All right, what year did you start living in your house, or what year can you start living in the houses? All right, so I started living in last year as a junior. I lived in the dorms freshman year, and then sophomore year I lived in an apartment, and then last year I lived in my sorority house, and again this year I'm living in my sorority house. So 2 years, and you can live in after your freshman year. So a lot of people live in sophomore and junior year, then live in an apartment senior year, but because I did opposite, I didn't have a problem with living in again. How often do you guys volunteer at events, or are there a lot of opportunities to volunteer? So every member is required to do 25 hours of community service a semester, and we're given so many opportunities and list of different places you guys can volunteer at. So whichever one you connect best with and want to do and have access to it, like if something's off campus and you don't have a car, you may want to go to one that's closer, stuff like that. So there are definitely a ton of different opportunities to volunteer, and definitely something for everyone. All right, next is around how much does sororities cost a year? So for what I pay is about $7,000 to $8,000 a year. Only because, don't get it twisted, only because I live in my sorority house, so that includes living in a sorority house, having meals twice a day, almost every day, and then my dues. So with that all wrapped up into one, I pay around $7,000 to $8,000. And this actually was pretty helpful because when I lived in a dorm freshman year, the dorm alone was around $9,000 a year. And then when I lived in an apartment, same thing. And that was just for housing and living, and didn't include meals and didn't include my dues for my organization. So for me, it's really worth it, especially if you live in. So every chapter though is a different price point. So if you guys go onto your school's Panhellenic website, you guys can check out the cost for each different chapter. What determines who gets to live in the sorority house? So I'm pretty sure from everyone I've heard, from even people who go to different schools, it's all based off of a point system, which basically kind of measures your involvement in the chapter. So if you're going to all the events, if you are participating in different philanthropies and everything, that's how you get points to kind of see who gets to live in. So say someone who isn't involved in the chapter, they won't have priority to live in as someone who literally goes to every single thing and participates and is really involved. That's how you have priority of who lives in. Next is, what led you to choose a fee over multicultural? So honestly, I didn't even know multicultural sororities were a thing. I was very ignorant to that. My sister and I are both first generation college students, so my only idea of what Greek life and sororities were is like from the movies. And when I was in high school looking up different chapters, the only options I had seen were like Panhellenic, because that's what's promoted a lot on social media. So that was all I really knew and expected to do, because I don't know anyone in my family who is in a sorority. My sister and I are the first people in our family to ever join one. So yeah, I didn't even know that that was really even an option. But that being said, I don't regret being in my sorority at all. I've absolutely loved my experience. How will the meal plans through sororities work this year? Will it still be buffet style? So we actually got like our new like housing contract to provide us with a lot of this information that we were wondering as well. And we are supposed to actually have personal prepackaged meals for us every day. That way it's a lot more sanitary, and then also they're expanding where we eat, like in the dining room. That way there's a lot more options for social distancing and everything. So that's how it's supposed to work. My friend said, what's your favorite meal made in your sorority house? I miss the croissant sandwiches. Honestly, deli day and wrap day. I don't know why some people do not like these days, but when we have deli day, I literally just pack it with like pickles and peppers and tomatoes and onions and everything. So I don't know, it's so good. And I actually miss it. It's so good. So deli day and wrap day is my favorite. What is one thing you thought would be different about being in a sorority? A lot of it, honestly, because when I was going through recruitment, you guys, I don't know how this is gonna go this year, because it could probably even be a better situation than it has in the past. But normally you have like all potential new members just gossiping about different chapters. It really does just skew your thoughts about different chapters, and it can really make you get in your head about your decisions and everything. So a lot of it always consisted like of me thinking that being in a sorority, you'd have to look perfect every day, and you have to act a certain way, and you have to act... Oh. Alright, sorry, my camera died, but yeah, basically it just was a lot more relaxed and chill than I thought it was gonna be, because of what social media portrays as like this perfection of Greek life. I mean, when I was in high school, I was looking up so many different chapters from different schools, because I didn't even know I was gonna end up going to U of A, but like from tons of different sororities. It just looked like this perfect little thing, and then when you actually get in it, you're like, okay, this is literally so chill and relaxed, and you're literally just hanging out with your friends. So yeah, that's definitely something I didn't really expect it to be. What's your best advice for living in? Do you have any organization/storage tips? So my best advice for living in is definitely make sure you guys have slippers, because you're gonna be wanting to walk down to the kitchen or the living room, whatever, different times of the day. So definitely make sure you have slippers so you have comfy shoes to walk in throughout the house. And then storage tips, definitely probably those like clothing hangers that have multiple hangers on them, so you can have a lot more space, because you don't really have that much space. It's kind of like a dorm. Every sorority's house is designed differently, so some chapters may have a lot more space than others, so it just depends on what yours is like. But from my experience, like, I definitely needed a lot more space in my closet. So those hanger things, I'm using those actually this year, and I'm really excited for that. Ooh, this one's juicy. Are there top sororities in your opinion? So basically, when an organization is categorized as a top sorority, it's actually based off of the rankings that P&Ms do when you're going through recruitment. So this could change every year. It literally just depends on how many P&Ms, which is potential new members, are requesting to go back to a certain chapter, if that makes any sense. So basically, so if more P&Ms are requesting to go back to a particular chapter, that can kind of rank it as like a top sorority. The whole top sorority thing does not matter at all, because you're literally just choosing which chapter is best for you. You're not trying to choose which tier your chapter that you're interested in is in. Like, that is never the point, and if it is, please reevaluate what reasoning for joining a sorority is, because popularity should not be the reason why you are joining. All right, and then this is gonna be the last question. So, are girls who are not in that chapter allowed to visit friends in the house? Absolutely. My friend and I actually always brought our friends from our classes after our class, we had a gap, so we would like bring our friends over to have lunch and stuff and just hang out and visit. And then a lot of people who are in different chapters will literally just like switch off when they go have meals at each other's different sororities. It is definitely open to your friends and family to come and visit your chapter. But yeah, those are all the questions I have time for, but I got a lot of questions from you guys. I wanted to get through as many as possible. If I didn't answer you guys' question, please head over to my Instagram and DM me personally, and I will get back to you and talk to you guys about any more questions you guys had, because like I said, we do have a new rule this year where we can actually talk to PNMs about recruitment and sororities and all that stuff. So I will definitely try and get back to you. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next video. Bye guys!